Welcome back to BL Echoes, dear listeners. In the last episode, a stranger came and tried to break the trust between Ethan and Evan. He threw ugly words into the room and tried to turn love into fear. But Evan did not leave Ethan. He chose to trust him. Today, that trust will open a door to the past. A hidden truth will come out. A lost voice will return. And for the first time, Ethan may finally get the answer he has been searching for all these years. Let's begin. Nathan was lying quietly on the hospital bed when Evan came into the room. His face still looked tired. His body was still weak, but his eyes were open, and this time, there was no fear in them. Sean was standing near the door, silent, watching everything. He did not come inside fully. He just stayed there, as if he wanted to give them space. Evan slowly sat down beside Nathan. For a few moments, neither of them said anything. The room was quiet. Only the soft sound of the machines could be heard. Nathan looked at Evan and asked in a low voice, "You still keen to see me?" Evan gave him a calm look. "Yes, I keen." Nathan's eyes dropped for a second. "After everything that man said, I didn't think you would want to see my face." Evan took a small breath. His voice was gentle but clear. "I did not come here because I believed him. I came because Ethan believes you. And if Ethan still trusts you after all these years, then I want to hear the truth from you, not from someone else." Nathan looked at him for a long time. Then he asked softly, "You trust Ethan that much?" Evan nodded. "Yes, I do." Something changed in Nathan's face after hearing that. It was small, but clear, like a locked place inside him had opened a little. He turned his eyes toward the window and finally began to speak. "Alina found something before she died. Something dangerous. At first, we thought it was only one bad mission, but it was much bigger than that. She found secret money records, hidden names, and private company links. Rich people, powerful people, people who looked clean from outside, but were doing dirty things behind closed doors." Evan listened carefully. Nathan continued. "She did not tell Ethan everything. Not because she didn't trust him. She trusted him the most. But she knew if Ethan found out how serious it was, he would jump into danger right away." Evan frowned slightly. "Then who did she tell?" Nathan looked back at him. "Me. Only a little. Not everything. She said if anything happened to her, I had to make sure Ethan learned the truth." Evan leaned forward a little. "Then why didn't you tell him?" Nathan's eyes became heavy. "Because I never got the chance." He slowly lifted his weak hand and looked at the marks on it. "That night, before I could reach Ethan, I was taken away. After that, everything was turned against me." Sean's fingers tightened on the doorframe outside. Nathan went on, his voice quiet and full of pain. "Alina knew she was being watched. She knew someone inside the system could not be trusted. So she hid what she found. She did not keep it in a file. She hid it inside something personal." Evan's eyes slowly changed. "What kind of thing?" Nathan looked at him carefully. "A locket." Evan froze. Nathan nodded slowly. "Alina's diamond locket. She used to wear it all the time during that fake marriage mission. Everyone thought it was just jewelry, but it was not. She liked hiding important things inside beautiful objects." Evan's heartbeat grew faster. "Where is it now?" Nathan answered in one breath. "Richard Roy has it." At the same time, in another room of the hospital, Ethan was sitting beside his father's bed. Richard had regained consciousness, but he still looked weak. His face had lost color, and his body had not fully recovered yet. Even so, his eyes were clear. Ethan had already asked about his mother's health, about how his father felt, about what the doctors had said. Richard answered all of it quietly. Then after a pause, he looked toward the drawer beside his bed. "There is something inside," he said softly. Ethan opened the drawer and found a small velvet box. His eyes narrowed. "What is this?" Richard looked at him and said, "Open it." Ethan did. The moment he saw what was inside, his face changed. It was Alina's locket. He looked up immediately. "Dad, why do you have this?" Richard gave a tired breath. "Because she gave it to me herself." Ethan stared at him in shock. "What?" "The day before she died, she came to me privately. She told me that if something happened, this should never go to the agency, never to anyone in command, only to you, but only when the time was right." Ethan's voice became tighter. "Then why didn't you give it to me before?" Richard closed his eyes for a second. "Because I was afraid. You were already being watched. Then Nathan was blamed. Then everything became dark. After that, Evan came into your life. And for the first time in years, I saw you trying to live like a normal man. I wanted to protect that piece from you." Ethan looked down at the locket in his hand. His fingers tightened around the box. "What's inside it?" he asked quietly. Richard's answer came slowly. "The truth." Only a few minutes later, Evan and Sean reached Ethan in the hallway. One look at Ethan's face, and Evan knew something had happened. Ethan opened the velvet box and showed them the locket. Nathan had remembered it. Richard had kept it. Now it was finally in Ethan's hands. None of them spoke for a moment. Then Ethan carefully turned the locket over in his fingers. He remembered Alina's habits. She never liked normal locks. She always hid things in smart ways. He pressed one side. Nothing happened. Then another. Still nothing. On the third try, he felt a tiny shift. Click. The locket opened. Inside, there was a very small chip. And behind it, folded tightly, was a tiny piece of paper. Ethan opened the paper first. Only one line was written there, in Alina's handwriting. "Do not trust orders. Trust proof." Sean's face became pale. Evan read the line again slowly. Then again. Alina had known. She had known something was wrong inside the system. She had known that someone powerful was controlling the truth. Ethan looked at Sean. Sean finally said what he had hidden for years. "I stopped trusting the director a long time ago. I didn't have enough proof, but I always felt something was wrong." Then Evan looked at Ethan. This time, his voice was quiet, but very serious. "When we open that chip, will you tell me everything too?" Ethan looked directly into his eyes. "Yes," he said. "This time, I will tell you everything." That evening, they did not go to the headquarters. They did not involve the agency. Ethan made a different choice. He took everyone to Roy Mansion. In a private room inside the mansion, they gathered together. Ethan, Evan, Sean, Nathan, Richard, Catherine, Victor, Aaron. No outsiders from the agency. Only one trusted legal advisor Richard knew personally. The chip was opened through a private system. The screen turned on. A file appeared. At the top of it was a white flower symbol. Then the first video started. It was Alina. Alive. Calm. Looking straight into the camera. The room became completely silent. Her voice filled the room. If you are watching this, then it means something has gone very wrong. Ethan could not move. Alina continued. Nathan is innocent. If anyone tries to blame him for what happens to me, do not believe it. Sean lowered his head. Nathan closed his eyes. Evan slowly held Ethan's hand. Alina kept speaking. She explained that she had found a hidden network working behind legal businesses, luxury companies, private funding groups, charity fronts, secret money routes. It was all connected. The people behind it were using clean names and beautiful companies to hide ugly things. Then came the biggest truth. The file showed the name of the group behind everything. White Crest. The old file Ethan had once received was only one small part of it. Alina had broken the real evidence into pieces because she no longer trusted the people above her. Then the screen showed something else. A hidden movement log, a changed time record, a forged report. The case against Nathan had been built on lies, not just weak lies, carefully made lies. When the video ended, the room stayed silent for a very long time. Nobody needed to ask anymore. Nathan was innocent. Completely. Sean was the first one to move. He went to Nathan and stood in front of him. For a few seconds, he just looked at him. Then, very slowly, he knelt down and held Nathan's hand with both of his. Nathan's lips trembled. Tears filled his eyes. He had waited years for someone to say it. Years for the truth to breathe. Years to stop feeling like a ghost inside his own life. Across the room, Victor stood near the window. Aaron quietly came and stood beside him. He did not force closeness. He did not speak. He just stayed there. Victor looked at him. Then, without words, he moved a little closer. Catherine was crying quietly. Richard looked tired, but peaceful. For the first time in years, Ethan did not look torn between two lives. He looked broken. He looked exhausted. But he also looked free. Finally, he spoke. We are not burying this anymore. Everyone looked at him. White Crest will be exposed. Not through hidden operations, not through dirty games, through law, through truth, through everything they thought they could silence. Later that night, when the house had gone quiet, Ethan and Evan stood alone on the balcony. The city lights below looked soft and far away. For the first time, Ethan told him everything. About the fake marriage, about the missions, about Alina, about Nathan, about the director, about the years of silence, about the fear that if Evan knew the full truth, he would walk away. Evan listened to all of it without stopping him once. When Ethan finished, the night felt very still. Then Evan looked at him and said only one thing. Never protect me with silence again. Ethan nodded. No big promise, no dramatic words, just a real one. Then Evan stepped closer, adjusted Ethan's collar gently, and rested his forehead against Ethan's chest. Ethan closed his eyes and held him. The world was still dangerous. The pain was still real. The past was not gone. But the truth was finally alive. And between them, for the first time, nothing was hidden anymore. Morning came slowly over Roy Mansion, soft gold light falling across the long windows, the polished floor, and the quiet faces of everyone who had not really slept. But this time, the silence inside the house was different. It was no longer full of confusion. It was full of waiting. One last step remained. Ethan stood in his study, dressed in a dark suit, one hand resting on the edge of the table, the other holding a file. Across from him sat Richard, still weak but determined. And beside him was the legal advisor, who had spent the whole night organizing every piece of evidence from Alina's hidden archive. White Crest was no longer just a shadow. It had names, numbers, deals, recordings, and trails of money, enough to destroy every beautiful lie they had built around themselves. The advisor finally closed the file and looked at Ethan. He said the evidence was strong enough. If they released it through the right channels, White Crest would fall. Not in secret, not in darkness, in public, in daylight. Ethan said quietly that it had to happen that way. No more hidden games, no more invisible wars. Richard looked at his son for a long time, then gave a slow nod. There was pain in his eyes, but there was also pride. Outside the study, Evan stood waiting. He did not enter. He just stayed near the door, calm and silent, wanting Ethan to finish what he had to do. When Ethan finally walked out, their eyes met at once. For a moment, they said nothing. Then Evan took one step closer and asked softly, "Is it over now?" Ethan looked at him with tired but gentle eyes. "Almost." Evan nodded. "Then let's finish it together." That same afternoon, White Crest was exposed. The files were handed to the right people. The financial records were released. The hidden connections between luxury companies, fake charity groups, and private operations came out one after another. News channels began picking it up within hours. Rich men with polished faces and expensive reputations suddenly looked frightened. Their power had always lived inside silence. Now, silence was gone. The director disappeared from public sight before sunset. He did not run far. He did not even get the chance. By evening, an official internal notice confirmed what Ethan had long feared. The director had helped bury the real evidence after Alina's death. He had protected White Crest because he was tied to them through money and influence. Nathan was never supposed to survive prison long enough for the truth to find him again. When Sean read that notice, he sat down without a word. Nathan was in the same room, watching him. For a long time, Sean just stared at his own hands. Then he laughed once, but there was no happiness in it, only heartbreak. "I'd worked under that man for years," he said quietly. "I followed his orders. I believed I was helping protect people." Nathan looked at him with deep, quiet eyes. "You didn't know." Sean's throat moved. "But I still left you alone in that hell." Nathan shook his head slowly. "No, they took me from you. That's not the same thing." Sean looked up then, and all the old pain in his face became visible. He crossed the room and dropped to his knees in front of Nathan, not caring how it looked, not caring who was watching. His voice broke when he spoke. "I loved you then. I love you now. I never stopped." Nathan's lips trembled. For a second, he could not speak at all. Then he reached forward and touched Sean's face with shaking fingers. "I know," he whispered. "I never stopped either." Sean closed his eyes and leaned into that touch like a man returning home after years of exile. Across the room, Evan quietly turned his face away and smiled through wet eyes. Ethan stood beside him, one hand slipping into his. Some reunions did not need dramatic words. They only needed truth to arrive at last. In another part of the mansion, Aaron stood in the kitchen, holding 2 cups of tea, trying to calm himself before he walked into the garden. Victor was there, sitting under the pale evening sky, looking calmer than he had in days. Aaron sat beside him and handed him 1 cup. Victor accepted it with a small nod. For a while, both of them just sat there, tea warming their hands, soft wind moving through the trees. Then Aaron finally spoke. I know this isn't the best time to talk about us. Victor looked at him. Then don't. Aaron gave a tiny, nervous smile. That's the problem. I really want to. Victor's eyes softened a little. Aaron looked down at his tea. I know you're scared. I know someone once made your feelings feel like a joke. I know you don't trust easily. But I need you to know something clearly. I am not playing with you. I never was. Victor stayed quiet. Aaron continued, softer now. You don't have to give me an answer today, or tomorrow, or next week. But I want to stay, if you'll let me. Victor turned the cup slowly in his hands. Then, after a long silence, he said something that made Aaron stop breathing. Stay then. Aaron looked up quickly. Victor was not smiling fully, but there was warmth in his face now. Real warmth. I'm still scared, Victor admitted. But for the first time, I don't want to run. Aaron's eyes lit up with something so bright and sincere that even Victor had to look away for a second. Then Aaron laughed softly and said, That's enough for me. Victor shook his head with a tiny smile. Sometimes love did not begin with a confession. Sometimes it began with one simple word. Stay. That night, the Roy family gathered together for dinner for the first time after the storm had broken. Catherine was sitting comfortably now, still healing, but smiling more than before. Richard looked tired, but peaceful. Victor was quieter than usual, though Aaron's presence seemed to soften him. Sean stayed close to Nathan, without trying to hide it anymore. Evan sat beside Ethan, and every now and then, Ethan's hand would move toward him without thinking, fixing his sleeve, brushing his fingers, making sure he was there. No one talked much about pain that night. Not because it was forgotten, but because for once, pain was no longer the center of the table. After dinner, Richard asked Ethan to stay behind. The others slowly left, one by one, until only father and son remained in the room. Richard looked at Ethan with eyes full of years. You can leave this life now, he said quietly. You don't owe that world anything anymore. Ethan was silent. Richard continued. For too long, you lived like a weapon, not like a son, not like a husband, not like a man who deserves peace. Ethan lowered his eyes for a moment. Then he said something simple. I want a real life now. Richard smiled faintly. Then go live it. Upstairs, Evan was standing by the bedroom window when Ethan entered the room. He turned around the moment he heard the door close. Neither of them spoke at first. There was soft light in the room. The night beyond the window was calm. And for the first time in a long time, nothing dark was waiting behind the next breath. Ethan walked toward him slowly. Evan did not move. When Ethan finally stopped in front of him, he reached out and touched Evan's face with the kind of gentleness that only came from deep love and deep fear of losing. It's over, Ethan said softly. Evan looked into his eyes. Is it really? Yes. Evan held that gaze for a few more seconds. Then he asked the question that mattered most. And now? What happens to us now? Ethan's answer came without hesitation. Now I love you properly, openly, honestly. No lies, no silence, no leaving you behind. Evan's eyes filled, but he smiled. You already loved me, he whispered. Ethan shook his head. Not like you deserved. Evan stepped closer until there was almost no space left between them. Then love me now. And Ethan did. Not with urgency, not with fear. Not like a man trying to hold on before losing everything. But like a man who had finally come home. He kissed Evan slowly, gently, deeply, with all the honesty he had promised. Evan's fingers curled into Ethan's shirt as he kissed him back, soft and steady, all the waiting inside him finally melting away. Later, wrapped in quiet and warmth, Evan lay with his head on Ethan's chest, while Ethan's fingers moved slowly through his hair. Neither of them needed to say much. Their silence now was not empty. It was full of survival, full of trust, full of the kind of love that had already been tested by fire and had chosen to stay. A few days later, a small private ceremony was held at the old family estate outside the city. Not a wedding. They were already married. This was something else. A new beginning. A promise made after truth. Only the people who mattered were there. Richard and Catherine, Victor and Aaron, Sean and Nathan, Emma, Aaron's brother Adrian, and in the center of it all, Ethan and Evan. There were white flowers everywhere, not as a sign of sorrow this time, but as peace. Ethan stood before Evan in a black suit. Evan wore cream and soft gold. Both looked calm, masculine, beautiful, like two men who had walked through darkness and chosen light without losing who they were. There was no priest, no large crowd, no performance. Just vows from the heart. Ethan held Evan's hands and looked directly into his eyes. But I can promise you this. From today onward, you will never face any pain alone. Not while I breathe. Evan's eyes filled at once. When it was his turn, his voice was softer, but no less strong. I cannot promise I will never be scared. But I can promise I will never run from you again. I will stay. In anger, in truth, in peace, in love. I will stay. By the time the vows ended, even Victor had to look away for a moment, and Catherine was openly crying. Aaron leaned toward Victor and whispered, "Your brother is actually romantic." Victor muttered back, "Don't let him hear you say that." Nathan smiled for the first time without any shadow in it. When Ethan and Evan kissed under the late afternoon light, it did not feel like the start of something. It felt like
穿越过人海，你一直都在。沉默的对白，是最深的爱。心跳的节拍，把伤口复团。你我的未来，永远不分开。